the top 5 problems people have with mobile photos.
$1 billion, right?
Yeah, $1 billion.
Imagine how many companies would love to have Mark Zuckerberg on their board.
Was that we really wanted to allow you to share out to multiple services at once.
Now, we've covered some of the major platforms on the internet. We've talked about the story of Amazon and how Jeff Bezos rose to success and pushed his company to being one of the only other companies in the world to be worth $1 trillion. We've also talked about social media giant Facebook and how Mark Zuckerberg was able to invent it right from his college dorm room. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about another such platform. This one most popular for being a space to share photos and videos. Any guesses? Yeah, that's right. Today we're going to be talking about Instagram. So sit back, relax, and let me tell you all about the most popular photo sharing app in all of history. This is Fraud Explained. To enjoy more videos, subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell, or else I'll be looking into you too. Now, how did Instagram begin? How did it rise to be the #1 photo sharing app on the planet? Let's dive in to discover how it all started. In 2009, 27-year-old Stanford graduate Kevin Systrom was working at Nextstop, a tech startup that generated travel recommendations. He was very fond of fine whiskey and bourbon, so he built a prototype of an app called Bourbon. The app allowed users to check in, share different photos, and post about their plans. There were not that many photo sharing platforms at the time, so while check-in apps which told people where you were at a given time were pretty popular, Bourbon's photo sharing feature was pretty unique. In March 2010, Systrom was at a party for a startup based in Silicon Valley. The name of the startup was Hunch, and it was where Systrom met 2 venture capitalists. One from Andreessen Horowitz and one from Baseline Ventures. He showed them his new app during the party, and they were interested in it. So much so that they decided to go out for coffee so they could talk about it some more. After their meeting, Systrom quit his job at Nextstop to focus on Bourbon full-time. After the course of the next 2 weeks, he was able to raise $500,000 in seed funding from both Andreessen Horowitz and Baseline Ventures.
We wanted to build a product that solved a problem.
Because of this money, Systrom was able to build his team who would work with him to develop Bourbon even further. Mike Krieger was the first to join him. Like Systrom, Krieger had graduated from Stanford. Prior to working at Bourbon, Krieger had also worked as an engineer and a user experience designer at Nebo, a social networking platform. After Krieger joined Bourbon, both he and Systrom took a look at Bourbon's capabilities. After talking about it, they decided to make Bourbon shift its focus: photographs, which have been taken on mobile devices. They then decided to study the then current apps on the market, and they saw potential in creating an app that did not only allow the user to take photos, edit them, add funky filters, and all of that, but also share them with their own social network. Imagine, it would be a cross between Hipstamatic, a photography app, and Facebook, a social networking platform. They then remodeled Bourbon to highlight its photo sharing, commenting, and liking functions. They then renamed it to Instagram. They also began to look for ways to make the photo sharing function more user-friendly. They started troubleshooting and looking for ways that the app would ask for the user to do as little as possible. They beta tested it with their friends, and just over 8 weeks later, they launched the app into the market. Instagram was launched to the public on October 6, 2010. On its first day, it was able to gain a total of 25,000 users. By the end of its first week, the new app had been downloaded 100,000 times. It seemed that people were fond of the new photo-sharing social platform, and it was evident in its growth. A couple of months later, in December, Instagram had reached 1 million individual users. It had come just in time as the iPhone 4's launch, and it featured a camera that was able to take more high-quality photos. Because Instagram had grown so big and was able to get so many users interested in it, investors started to want in. By February of 2011, Instagram had been able to raise over $4 million from investors. With their added funding, Systrom and Krieger hired even more people to work with, but they kept their team pretty lean. Eventually, Instagram gained the attention of 2 of the most prominent social media platforms at the time, Twitter and Facebook. Now, we already know by now that Facebook has a reputation of trying to acquire other popular social media platforms, but at the time, it was also still growing. Keep watching to see how much they were willing to shell out for Instagram. Twitter was the first to make an offer. Jack Dorsey of Twitter had known Systrom from their internship days, and he was very interested in Instagram. So in March 2011, Dorsey offered Instagram $500 million in stock. However, Systrom declined, citing that he wanted Instagram to remain independent. Instagram still continued to grow, and by March 2012, it had a whopping 27 million users. Wow! It was set to have even more users when it was released for Android phones the month after. It was downloaded over 1 million times a day it was released for Android phones. After this, Instagram was able to receive a new round of funding. This time it raised $500 million, the exact same amount that Twitter had offered them. The interest in Instagram from bigger social media platforms did not end there. In April 2012, Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg offered to buy Instagram for a whopping $1 billion in cash and stock. He also allowed for Instagram to remain independently managed. At the time, it seemed like a good deal to Instagram's founder, and so soon after, Facebook was able to acquire Instagram. Apparently at the time, Facebook's acquisition of Instagram made Jack Dorsey quite upset. Prior to Facebook's acquisition, Jack Dorsey was one of Instagram's most active and most influential users. His friendship with Systrom was probably one of the factors that he got into Instagram in the first place. However, on April 9, 2012, the day that Facebook became Instagram's parent company, was the last day that Jack Dorsey ever used Instagram. He was reportedly hurt that Systrom didn't give him a chance to renegotiate, and he had only heard through rumors that Facebook was going to offer $1 billion for Instagram. The whole deal has also put some strain on Dorsey and Systrom's friendship, and to this day we are not certain if they ever got to reconcile. As far as we know, Dorsey has not even returned to Instagram yet. However, amid all the drama, the deal between Instagram and Facebook was closed on September 6, 2012. It was reported that Systrom was able to earn a net of $400 million. Now, Instagram has a whole host of features. Over the years, it has added in videos, boomerangs, new filters, Instagram stories, IGTV, and a whole lot more. On September 24, 2018, Krieger and Systrom both announced that they would be stepping down from Instagram. Adam Mosseri was poised to take their place as head of Instagram. Now, Instagram did not want to stop at just being a social networking platform. Recently, Facebook has been trying to make Facebook and Instagram efficient e-commerce platforms, which would hopefully make it easier for brands and businesses to reach out to potential customers and sell their products. Eventually, there will be a system you can use to pay for things directly on Instagram. Cool, right? Not really. So why did Instagram work, and why is it such a popular social networking platform? Well, its appeal probably comes from its ability to make the ordinary look magical. Loads of people use Instagram to share content that they created, and the photo settings on Instagram, like its editing tools and filters, can make a photo of a can of soda look like it was professionally shot. Additionally, Instagram is free. Creating an account for yourself or your business is free on Instagram, and you can post whatever you want, whenever you want. This is probably why a lot of people use Instagram as a marketing platform. Instagram is also widely credited for the rise of influencers and popular personalities. Speaking of influencers, Instagram has apparently become such a popular social networking platform that influencers can earn thousands of dollars for even mentioning or featuring a brand or a product on their Instagram stories. Today, Instagram has roughly 1 billion monthly active users, with 500 million daily active users. To date, there have been over 50 billion photos shared, and it doesn't look like Instagram is going to be obsolete anytime soon. Together with its parent company Facebook, it looks set to dominate the realm of social media and cement its place in our daily lives. However, some analysts maintain that Instagram was probably worth so much more than what it was bought for. What do you think about the story of Instagram? Do you think that Systrom should have taken up the deal with Dorsey? Do you think that Systrom should have turned down Facebook's offer? Let's talk about it in the comments section below. I will respond to all of you who comment within the first hour. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other video on how to turn down $1 billion, the story of Snapchat. In that video, I will be sharing with you how Snapchat grew to be one of the frontrunners in social media. Like Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg had offered to buy Snapchat for $1 billion. However, Snapchat's founder turned Zuckerberg down, saying they wanted to remain independent and that it would be worth more in the future. A few years later, Zuckerberg upped his offer to $3 billion, but he was turned down yet again. Sounds crazy, right? Learn more about Snapchat's story and how to turn down $1 billion. The story of Snapchat. Stay tuned, stay educated.